My wife started volunteering at our daughter's soccer games. Then I found out why. I never thought my wife would cheat on me with our daughter's soccer coach. But then again, nobody thinks their spouse will cheat until it happens. Hey Reddit, I'm Mike, 34 years old, and this is my wife Sarah's sudden enthusiasm for youth soccer turned out to be about a lot more than supporting our daughter. What started as me being grateful that she was finally taking interest in Lily's activities ended with me sitting in my car with binoculars, watching my wife fall in love with another man right in front of me. You know that feeling when something changes in your relationship, but you can't quite identify what it is? When your partner seems happier, more energized, more engaged with life, but somehow less engaged with you? That's where this story begins. But let me give you the full context, because understanding how normal everything seemed before makes the betrayal that much more devastating. Sarah and I met 11 years ago when I was 23 and she was 21. I was working as a junior software developer at a tech startup, making about $55,000 a year. Sarah was finishing her marketing degree and doing an internship at an advertising agency. We met through a mutual friend at a house party, connected over our shared love of hiking and terrible reality TV shows, and started dating within a week. Our relationship was easy from the start. No drama, no games, just genuine compatibility. Sarah was smart, ambitious, funny, and kind. She had goals and worked hard to achieve them. I admired her drive and her warmth. She made me laugh. She made me want to be better. We dated for 2 years before moving in together. Both our careers were progressing. I'd been promoted to software engineer making $72,000. Sarah had landed a marketing coordinator position making $48,000. We rented a 2-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood, adopted a cat named Whiskers, and settled into comfortable domestic life. At 3 years of dating, I proposed. Nothing fancy. A hike to our favorite overlook, sunset, me on one knee with a ring I'd saved for months to afford. Sarah cried, said yes, and we spent the hike back planning our future. We got married when I was 26 and Sarah was 24. Small wedding, about 80 guests, mostly family and close friends. It was perfect. Low stress, high joy, exactly what we both wanted. Our honeymoon was a week in Costa Rica, hiking and zip lining and lying on beaches. I remember thinking I was the luckiest guy in the world. The first few years of marriage were good. We both worked hard, advanced in our careers, saved money, talked about buying a house eventually. Sarah became a marketing manager making $65,000. I moved to a senior developer role making $95,000. Our combined income was comfortable, and we were building toward the future we wanted. 4 years into marriage, when I was 30 and Sarah was 28, we decided to start trying for a baby. It happened faster than expected. Sarah got pregnant within 3 months. Our daughter Lily was born healthy and beautiful. And suddenly we were parents navigating sleepless nights and diaper changes, and the overwhelming responsibility of keeping a tiny human alive. Those early parenting years were hard. We were both exhausted. Our relationship took a backseat to Lily's needs. Our sex life diminished significantly, and our communication became transactional. Who's picking up Lily from daycare? Did you schedule her doctor's appointment? We need more diapers. The romance and spontaneity that had defined our early relationship faded into the background noise of daily survival, but we got through it. As Lily got older and more independent, things improved. By the time she was 5, we'd settled into a comfortable rhythm. I'd transitioned to a remote software engineering position making $110,000, which gave me flexibility to handle afternoon pickups and be more present for Lily. Sarah continued working as a marketing consultant, mostly from home with occasional client meetings, making about $72,000. Our division of labor was clear. I handled morning routines and afternoon pickups. Sarah managed evenings, dinner, bath, bedtime. Weekends, we split childcare duties. It worked. It wasn't passionate or exciting, but it was functional and stable. Looking back now, I realize we'd become roommates who co-parented rather than romantic partners who happened to have a child. We rarely went on dates. Our conversations centered on Lily's schedule and household logistics. We had sex maybe twice a month, usually quick and utilitarian. We watched TV together, but on our phones half the time. We lived parallel lives in the same house. I didn't think this was a problem. I thought it was normal for couples with young kids, Everyone we knew seemed to be in similar situations, tired, focused on children, maintaining household functionality rather than romantic connection. I figured we'd reconnect once Lily was older, once work was less demanding, once we had more time and energy. I was wrong. 6 months ago, Lily turned 6. Sarah suggested signing her up for youth soccer. She needs physical activity and social interaction with other kids. Soccer is perfect. Teamwork, exercise, fun. Great idea, I agreed. You want to handle registration? I'll take care of it. Lily started soccer in early September. Practice was Tuesday and Thursday evenings, 7:30 p.m. Games were Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. The league was recreational for kids ages 5-7, focused on fundamentals and fun rather than competition. Sarah volunteered to be the team, organizing snack schedules, coordinating carpools, handling communication with other families. I was pleasantly surprised by her enthusiasm. Sarah had always been involved with Lily, but in practical ways. Doctor appointments, school conferences, making sure she was fed and safe. This active volunteering for extracurriculars was new. I'm impressed you're doing this, I told her after the first practice. I know you're busy with work. Lily's only 6 once. I want to be present for her activities while she's young. That seemed reasonable. Healthy, even. A mom making her daughter's childhood a priority. The first few weeks of soccer season, Sarah attended every practice and game. She'd come home energized, telling Lily and me about drills the kids did, funny things that happened, how Lily was improving. She seemed happier than she'd been in months, more alive. How's the coach? I asked one evening. Coach Ryan, he's great, really patient with the kids. He played college soccer, actually knows what he's doing. And there's an assistant coach too, Coach Maria, who's wonderful with the younger kids. That's good. Sounds like Lily's in good hands. 3 weeks into the season, I started noticing small changes in Sarah. Nothing dramatic, just little things that individually seemed innocuous, but collectively formed a pattern. She started dressing nicer on practice days. Instead of her usual work-from-home attire of leggings and a sweatshirt, she'd wear jeans and a fitted top. She'd put on makeup, style her hair. When I mentioned it, she said, I'm going to be around other parents. I should look presentable. That made sense, except she'd never cared about looking presentable for school pickups or playground visits before. She became more protective of her phone, would angle it away from me when texting, would take calls in another room. When her phone would buzz during dinner, she'd glance at it and smile before turning it face down. Who's texting? I'd ask. Just soccer stuff, she'd say vaguely. She started going to practices earlier and coming home later. Practice was 7:30 p.m., but Sarah would leave at 5:30 p.m. to help set up equipment and wouldn't return until 8:30 p.m. or later, helping clean up and talking with other parents. She'd come home from practices glowing, energized, happy in ways I hadn't seen in years. She'd talk animatedly about practice, about the kids' progress, about Coach Ryan's teaching methods. Coach Ryan, she mentioned him constantly. Coach Ryan taught the kids this new dribbling drill today. Coach Ryan is so good at keeping the kids focused. Coach Ryan played Division II soccer in college. Did you know that? Coach Ryan suggested we do a team bonding event, maybe a pizza party after a game. Coach Ryan, Coach Ryan, Coach Ryan. At first, I thought nothing of it. She was enthusiastic about Lily's activity. The coach was clearly good at his job. It was natural she'd talk about him, but the frequency of mentions started to feel excessive. Every conversation about soccer included multiple references to what Coach Ryan said, what Coach Ryan did, what Coach Ryan thought. 1 month into the season, I suggested coming to a practice. I'd love to see what you and Lily are doing. Maybe I'll come Thursday. Sarah's reaction was immediate and strong. You don't need to come to practices. They're chaotic and boring for non-parents. Come to games on Saturdays. That's more fun. I'd still like to see a practice, get a feel for what Lily's learning. Honestly, it's mostly just kids running around. You'd be bored. Save your energy for games. She was actively discouraging me from attending practice. Why? 6 weeks into the season, I started feeling genuinely suspicious. The combination of Sarah's changed appearance on practice days, her phone secrecy, her extended absences, her glowing happiness after practices, and her constant mentions of Coach Ryan added up to something that made my stomach churn. But I felt ridiculous. Was I really suspecting my wife of having an affair with our daughter's soccer coach? That seemed absurd, paranoid, the kind of thing jealous, insecure husbands imagined. Sarah loved our family. We had a good life. She wouldn't risk that for some youth soccer coach, would she? I tried to dismiss my concerns, told myself I was being crazy, that Sarah was just excited about being involved in Lily's activities, that I should be grateful she was engaged rather than suspicious of her enthusiasm. But the feeling wouldn't go away. Something was off. Something had changed. And every instinct I had was screaming that Coach Ryan was at the center of it. 7 weeks into the season, I decided to do something I'm not proud of. I decided to surprise Sarah at practice, to show up unannounced, observe from a distance, and prove to myself that I was being paranoid. It was a Thursday evening in late October. Sarah had left for practice at 5:30 p.m. as usual. "Helping set up," she'd said, kissing Lily goodbye. I fed Lily dinner, started her bath, then called my neighbor Julia. "Hey, any chance you could watch Lily for an hour?" "Sure, bring her over." I dropped Lily at Julia's house at 6:15 p.m., then drove to the soccer fields across town. Practice was at the community park. 4 fields, parking lots, playground equipment. I'd been there for Lily's Saturday games, but never for practice. I parked in a far corner of the lot, away from the clusters of parents, where I had a view of Field 3 where Lily's team practiced. I grabbed the binoculars I keep in my car for hiking trips. Felt like a creep doing it, but I needed to see without being seen. Through the binoculars, I scanned the field, found Lily's team easily, about 15 kids in matching green jerseys divided into groups doing drills. I spotted Lily in a group practicing passing. She looked happy, focused, doing well. Then I found Sarah. She was standing on the sideline with other parents watching the practice. She looked normal, appropriate, nothing suspicious. I felt stupid. Of course, there was nothing going on. I was being paranoid and jealous over nothing. I was about to leave when I decided to stay for the full practice just to be thorough, just to completely put my mind at ease. I watched the kids run through drills. Identified Coach Ryan easily, mid-20s, fit, athletic build, dark hair, coaching with enthusiasm and patience. He seemed good at his job. Nothing inappropriate about him. I watched Sarah chat with other parents, normal interactions, nothing unusual. Then, about 30 minutes into practice, Coach Ryan called for a water break. The kids ran to the sideline where parents handed out water bottles and snacks. The other coach, Coach Maria, gathered the kids for a huddle, and Coach Ryan walked over to the equipment shed at the edge of the field, away from the crowds, away from the other parents. Sarah followed him, casually, like she just happened to be walking in that direction. My stomach dropped. I adjusted the binoculars, focused on them. They were standing close. Very close. Closer than 2 people discussing soccer drills would stand. Coach Ryan was talking, gesturing with his hands. Sarah was laughing, looking up at him with an expression I recognized because it used to be directed at me. Adoration, attraction. Then Ryan reached out and briefly touched Sarah's face. Just a quick brush of his hand against her cheek. Barely 2 seconds. And Sarah leaned into it, closed her eyes, smiled. My hands started shaking so badly I almost dropped the binoculars, steadied against the steering wheel, forcing myself to keep watching. They talked for another minute, both smiling, both leaning toward each other in ways that spoke of intimacy and comfort. Then Sarah glanced back toward the field, checking if anyone was watching, and they separated, walked back to the practice area from different directions. I sat in my car, binoculars in my lap, heart pounding, mind racing. That hadn't been coach and team parent. That had been 2 people who were involved. Intimately, romantically. I watched the rest of practice in a daze, noted how Sarah and Ryan gravitated toward each other, how they'd find reasons to stand near each other, how they'd exchange glances and smiles that lasted just a beat too long. At 7:30 p.m., practice ended. Parents collected their kids, packed up equipment, dispersed to their car. I watched Sarah helping Lily with her gear, chatting with other parents, acting completely normal. Most parents left quickly. By 7:45 p.m., only a handful of people remained, including Sarah and Ryan. They were standing together by Ryan's car, ostensibly discussing something, probably soccer stuff, but standing far closer than necessary, talking, laughing. Ryan said something that made Sarah throw her head back in genuine. At 8:00 p.m., Sarah finally got in her car with Lily. I watched them drive away. Then I watched Ryan get in his car and leave. I sat in that parking lot for another 10 minutes processing what I'd seen. The face touch, the body language, the lingering after everyone else left, the intimacy in their interactions. Sarah was having an affair, maybe not physical yet, though maybe it was, but emotional, definitely. She was involved with Coach Ryan, falling for him, maybe already fallen. I drove back to Julia's house in a fog, picked up Lily. Thanks so much for watching her. Anytime, how was your errand? Informative. I took Lily home, got her ready for bed, read her a story, tucked her in, went through all the motions of normal parenting while my mind screamed with what I'd witnessed. At 8:35 p.m., Sarah came home. She was glowing, radiant, happier than I'd seen her in years. How was practice? I asked, my voice steady despite the rage and hurt churning inside me. Great! Lily did so well today. She's really improving. Practice wrong? Yeah, we were cleaning up equipment, and I got talking with some of the other parents, lost track of time. Lie, direct, calculated lie. I'd watched her. She hadn't been talking with other parents. She'd been with Ryan. What did you talk about? I pressed. Oh, just soccer stuff. Team schedules, fundraising ideas, boring parent committee things. More lies. How's Coach Ryan? I asked, watching her face carefully. Her expression shifted, just for a second, but I caught it. Softness, warmth. Then she composed herself. He's good, really dedicated to the team. I wanted to scream, wanted to confront her right there. But something stopped me, maybe shock, maybe denial, maybe the strategic part of my brain that knew confronting without proof would give her room to gaslight, make me seem paranoid. I'm tired, I said, going to bed early. Okay, I'll be up in a bit. I went to our bedroom, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the bed with my head in my hands. My wife was cheating on me with our daughter's soccer coach in plain sight at our 6-year-old's practice. While I was home working and trusting her completely, over the next few days I paid closer attention. I started noticing things I'd been blind to before. Sarah texted constantly. I'd see her phone light up throughout the day. When I'd ask who was texting, it was always soccer stuff or work stuff or vague non-answers. One evening when Sarah was in the shower, her phone was on the kitchen counter. It buzzed. I glanced at it. The message preview showed soccer stuff. Can't wait to see you Tuesday. Been thinking about the preview cut off, but soccer stuff as a contact name? That wasn't a person's name. That was a label designed to hide who she was actually texting. I grabbed the phone, tried to open it, password protected. I didn't know her passcode. She'd changed it recently. When Sarah came downstairs, I mentioned it casually. Your phone was buzzing. Someone named Soccer Stuff texted you. She grabbed the phone quickly. Oh, that's just the team parent group chat. It's saved as Soccer Stuff in your phone? Yeah, easier to organize my contacts that way. Another lie. Group chats don't show up as individual contacts with custom names. I started documenting everything. Created a note on my phone with dates, times, observations. OCT 23. Sarah left for practice 5:30 p.m., returned 8:45 p.m., practice ends 7:30 p.m. OCT 23. Observed Sarah and Coach Ryan standing very close by equipment shed. He touched her face. She leaned into it. 25. Sarah's phone buzzed. Contact Soccer Stuff. Sent message mentioning, can't wait to see you Tuesday. Octi 27. Sarah mentioned Coach Ryan 7 times during dinner conversation. The evidence kept accumulating. Every practice day, Sarah would dress nicely, leave early, return late, glow with happiness. Every day, she'd text constantly with soccer stuff. Every conversation about soccer centered on Coach Ryan. 2 weeks after my parking lot surveillance, I needed more. I needed to see those text messages. Needed confirmation that what I suspected was actually happening. One Saturday morning, Sarah was in the shower before Lily's game. Her phone was on the nightstand. I grabbed it, tried common passcodes. Our anniversary, Lily's birthday, Sarah's birthday. Nothing worked. Then I tried Ryan's name as numbers on the keypad. RYAN 7926. The phone unlocked. Her passcode was Ryan's name. My hands were shaking as I opened her messages. Found Soccer Stuff. Opened the thread. It wasn't a group chat. It was messages between Sarah and someone whose actual contact information was hidden under that fake name. Messages going back weeks. I scrolled through, my heart breaking with every line. Sept 28. Soccer Stuff. Really enjoyed our conversation after practice today. You're easy to talk to. Sarah, same. It's nice talking to another adult about things other than kids and work. OCT. Sarah, can't stop thinking about what you said about following your passion. Made me realize how stuck I've felt lately. Soccer Stuff. You shouldn't feel stuck. You're amazing. Smart, funny, beautiful. You deserve to feel alive. Oct 8. Soccer Stuff. Seeing you Tuesday is the highlight of my week. Sarah, mine too. Is that bad? Soccer Stuff. Nothing that feels this right could be bad. You at 15. Sarah, I feel guilty, but I also feel more like myself than I have in years. Soccer stuff, no guilt. You're just remembering who you are outside of being a wife and mom. Awk at 20 why? Soccer stuff. When can we talk alone, not just stolen moments at practice? Sarah, coffee Tuesday morning. Mike works from home, but he's in meetings from 9/11 soccer stuff. Perfect. Our usual place? Our usual place. They had a usual place. They were meeting for coffee during the week when I thought Sarah was working. Ought 22. Soccer stuff. Yesterday was perfect. Wish we had more time. Sarah. Me too. Can't wait for Thursday. Soccer stuff. Can't wait to see you. Been thinking about you constantly. I'd read enough. More than enough. The emotional affair was clear. Whether it had become physical yet, I didn't know. But it didn't matter. Sarah had checked out of our marriage and checked into a relationship with Coach Ryan. I heard the shower turn on. Quickly, I took screenshots of key messages, texted them to myself, deleted the texts I'd sent from her phone, and put her phone back on the nightstand. My hands were still shaking. My vision was blurred. I felt like I might throw up. Sarah came out of the bathroom in her towel, smiling. Ready for Lily's game? I looked at my wife, this woman I'd loved for 11 years, mother of my child, partner in building our life, and I saw a stranger, someone who'd been lying to me for months, someone who'd fallen for another man while I trusted her completely, someone who was actively planning secret meetings and justifying her betrayal by claiming she was remembering who she is. Yeah, I managed. I'm ready. We went to Lily's soccer game. I watched our daughter play. I cheered when she made a good pass. I took photos of her running down the field, and I watched Sarah and Coach Ryan, saw how they'd stand near each other on the sideline, how they'd find excuses to talk, how Sarah would laugh at things he said, how he'd look at her like she was special. At halftime, I saw them walk together toward the concession stand, alone, away from the crowd. I didn't follow, didn't confront, didn't make a scene because I'd already decided what I needed to do. I needed more documentation, more evidence, more proof of what was happening so that when I confronted Sarah and when I eventually filed for divorce, there would be no ambiguity, no room for her to deny or minimize or gaslight me into thinking I was overreacting. That night, after Lily was asleep, I sat in my office and created a detailed document, every observation, every lie Sarah had told, screenshots of the text messages, photos I'd taken through binoculars of Sarah and Ryan standing too close. Then I started researching divorce attorneys, family law, custody arrangements, how infidelity affected divorce proceedings in our state, because my marriage was over. I knew that with certainty now. The woman I'd married, the partner I'd trusted, had betrayed me with our daughter's soccer coach, had been lying to me for months, had been building a relationship with another man while I remained oblivious at home, and I wasn't going to let her control the narrative when this all came out. I wasn't going to be the clueless husband who got blindsided. I was going to be strategic, documented, and ready. Sarah thought she was managing two lives, devoted wife and mother at home, romantic interest at soccer practice. She thought I was too busy, too trusting, too focused on work to notice what was happening. She was wrong. I'd noticed, I'd documented, I'd gathered proof. And soon I was going to make sure she understood exactly what her choices had cost her. Over the next 2 weeks, I became someone I never thought I'd be. A husband spying on his wife, documenting her lies, preparing for the end of his marriage while pretending everything was normal. Every morning, I'd kiss Sarah goodbye, tell her I loved her, watch her smile and say it back. And every day I'd add more evidence to the folder I was building, knowing those same lips that said I love you were kissing another man. The Monday after discovering the text messages, I called in sick to work, told my boss I had food poisoning and would be working limited hours. What I actually did was follow Sarah. She'd mentioned having client meetings that morning. I wanted to see if that was true or if she was meeting Ryan. At 8:45 a.m., Sarah left the house dressed nicely. Blazer, nice jeans, makeup. I'll be back around noon, she said. Client meeting downtown. Good luck, I replied, watching from the window as she drove away. I waited 5 minutes, then followed in my car, kept several car lengths back, felt ridiculous playing private investigator, but needed to know. Sarah didn't drive downtown toward the business district. She drove to a coffee shop in a neighboring suburb, a place we'd never been to together, far enough from our usual spots that she wouldn't run into anyone we knew. I parked across the street, pulled out my phone, and waited. At 9:15 a.m., Coach Ryan arrived. He parked, walked into the coffee shop, and through the window, I could see him greeting Sarah with a hug that lasted too long. They sat at a corner table, close together, leaning in as they talked. I took photos, lots of photos. Sarah and Ryan sitting close, Sarah laughing, Ryan reaching across the table to hold her hand, both of them looking at each other like they were the only two people in the world. They stayed for an hour and 45 minutes. When they left, Ryan walked Sarah to her car. He hugged her again, and this time I saw it clearly. He kissed her. Not a long kiss, but a real one, on the lips, in a public parking lot. And Sarah kissed him back. I took photos of that too, my hands shaking with rage and heartbreak. After they separated and drove away, I sat in my car feeling sick. This wasn't just emotional anymore, they were physical. My wife was actively having an affair with our daughter's soccer coach, meeting him for secret coffee dates, kissing him in parking lots, all while coming home to me and acting like everything was normal. That evening, Sarah came home at her usual time. "How was your day?" I asked. "Good, productive. Client meeting went well." "What client?" "Just a potential new account. Retail company looking for marketing strategy help." Lies. Easy, casual lies. She'd become so comfortable deceiving me that she didn't even hesitate. "That's great," I said, smiling. "I'm proud of you." She kissed my cheek. "Thanks, babe." I wanted to scream, wanted to show her the photos, wanted to demand answers, but I held back because I needed to be strategic. I needed documentation complete enough that she couldn't deny or minimize what she'd done. Over the next week, I systematically gathered more evidence, installed location tracking on our shared family plan, watched Sarah's location during the day, told me she was working from home Tuesday. Her location showed her at a park across town for 3 hours during the day, the same park where Ryan worked as a personal trainer in the mornings before soccer coaching. Screenshot every text message I could access when Sarah left her phone unattended. Most were coded. "Can't wait for Thursday. Yesterday was perfect with thinking about you, but the pattern was clear." Documented every discrepancy between what Sarah said she was doing and what she actually did. Created a spreadsheet with dates, times, what she claimed, what actually happened. Looked up the soccer league's policies, found their code of conduct, which explicitly prohibited coaches from engaging in romantic or sexual relationships with team parents. After 10 days of documentation, I had everything I needed. Dozens of photos, text message screenshots, location data, a timeline of the affair spanning at least 2 months, probably longer. It was time to talk to a lawyer. I scheduled a consultation with Jennifer Walsh, a family law attorney with excellent reviews and a reputation for being both aggressive and fair. The consultation was on a Friday morning while Sarah was at one of her client meetings that was probably another coffee date with Ryan. Jennifer listened to my story, reviewed my documentation, and nodded thoughtfully. "You've done excellent work documenting this. Most people come in with suspicions and feelings. You've come with evidence. That's going to help significantly. How much will infidelity matter in the divorce? We're a no-fault divorce state, so infidelity itself doesn't affect property division or alimony, but it can matter for custody, especially when the affair demonstrates dishonesty and poor judgment. Your wife was conducting an affair with your daughter's soccer coach, lying extensively to cover it up and bringing your daughter to practices where she was engaging with her affair partner. That speaks to character and decision-making. I want primary custody," I said. "I want to keep the house, and I want this to be as clean as possible for Lily's sake." Those are reasonable goals. Given that you work from home with flexibility and Sarah's dishonesty is well documented, we have a strong case for primary custody. The house will depend on assets and equity, but we can negotiate for it. Are you prepared for Sarah to be angry, to potentially fight back? "I'm prepared for whatever comes." "Good. Then let's get started. I'll draft divorce papers. You'll need to decide when and how to confront her. I want to confront her privately, calmly. I have a daughter to protect. I don't want drama or public scenes." That's wise. Many people in your situation want revenge, but the best revenge is moving forward with dignity and protecting your child. "Let me prepare the papers, and we'll proceed when you're ready." I left Jennifer's office feeling clearer than I had in weeks. I had a plan, I had legal representation, I had evidence. Now I just needed to execute. That night was Lily's soccer practice. Sarah left early as usual. "See you later," she called, already halfway out the door. After Sarah left, I made a decision. I was done waiting, done watching, done pretending. It was time to end this. I put Lily to bed early that night, reading her extra stories, holding her close, grateful for her innocence in all of this. Then I sat in the living room and waited for Sarah to return. She came home at 9 p.m., almost 2 hours after practice ended. She was glowing as always. Hey, sorry I'm late. Got talking with some of the parents. Sarah, we need to talk. Sit down. Something in my tone made her freeze. What's wrong? Sit down. She sat on the couch, looking confused and slightly defensive. Mike, you're scaring me. What's going on? I pulled out my phone and opened the photo folder I'd created, turned the screen toward her. Photos of her and Ryan at the coffee shop, photos of them kissing in the parking lot, screenshots of their text messages, location data showing her lies about where she'd been. Sarah's face went white. She stared at the photos, mouth open, unable to speak. I know about Coach Ryan, I said, my voice steady despite the rage inside me. I know you've been having an affair. I know about your coffee dates, your secret meetings, your lies about client meetings and soccer parent conversations. I know everything. Mike, I don't lie anymore. I have weeks of documentation, photos, texts, location data, everything. I watched you kiss him in that parking lot. I heard you tell him he makes you feel alive. I saw the texts where you planned meetings behind my back. There's no point denying it. Tears started streaming down Sarah's face. I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. It just what? It just happened. You just accidentally started an affair? You just accidentally lied to me every single day for months? You just accidentally brought our daughter to practices where you were flirting with your boyfriend? He's not my boyfriend. What is he then, Sarah? Because from where I'm sitting, you've been in a relationship with him. Secret meetings, kissing, constant texting, telling him things you haven't told me? That's a relationship. She was sobbing now. I've been unhappy, Mike, for years. We've been roommates, not partners. We haven't connected in so long. And Ryan, he makes me feel seen. He makes me feel like I matter, like I'm more than just a mom and a wife. So instead of talking to me about being unhappy, you cheated. Instead of suggesting counseling or working on our marriage, you started fucking around with a soccer coach? We haven't had sex, she protested. It's been emotional, yes, but we haven't. I saw you kiss him. Don't pretend this is some innocent friendship. It started and we were just talking. He's easy to talk to, and then we developed feelings, and I know I should have stopped it, but I didn't want to. For the first time in years, I felt excited to wake up. I felt like myself again. I looked at this woman, my wife of 9 years, mother of my child, and felt nothing but contempt. You felt like yourself by lying, by sneaking around, by betraying the person who trusted you most? I know it was wrong. I know I hurt you. But Mike, you have to understand, our marriage has been dead for years. We're just going through the motions. You don't even see me anymore. Our marriage isn't dead, Sarah. You killed it. You chose to have an affair instead of working on our problems. You don't get to blame me for your choices. So what now? She asked, wiping tears. What do you want? I pulled out another folder. Divorce papers, prepared by Jennifer. I want a divorce. I've already consulted an attorney. These are preliminary papers. I'm seeking primary custody of Lily. Given your dishonesty and poor judgment, I want to keep the house, and I want you to move out. Her face crumpled. You can't take Lily from me. I'm not taking her. You'll have visitation, but I'm the stable parent who hasn't been lying and sneaking around. I work from home with flexibility. You've been too busy with your affair to prioritize our daughter's well-being. That's not fair. I love Lily. I'm a good mother. Good mothers don't bring their daughters to practices so they can flirt with their affair partners. Good mothers don't lie to their families. Good mothers don't model dishonesty and betrayal. Mike, please, we can work on this. We can go to counseling. I'll end things with Ryan. We can fix this. No, we can't, because I'll never trust you again. Every time you leave the house, I'll wonder if you're really where you say you are. Every time you text, I'll wonder who you're talking to. Every time you say you love me, I'll remember that you were saying the same thing while carrying on with another man. There's no coming back from this. Sarah was hysterical now, begging, pleading. Please don't do this. Think about Lily. Think about our family. I am thinking about Lily, which is why I'm ending a marriage built on lies and giving her one honest parent who she can trust. What about Ryan? Are you going to? I'm reporting him to the soccer league. He violated their ethics policy by having a relationship with a team parent. He'll have to resign. And yes, the other parents will find out why, but that's his consequence to face, not mine. You're going to ruin his life. I'm going to hold him accountable for having an affair with a married woman whose daughter he coaches. If that ruins his life, maybe he should have thought about that before pursuing you." Sarah collapsed into sobs. I felt no satisfaction, no triumph, just exhaustion and sadness. "You need to figure out where you're going to stay," I said. "You can pack a bag tonight and stay with your parents or a friend. We'll work out a more permanent arrangement through our attorneys." "Mike!" "There's nothing more to say, Sarah. You made your choices. Now we both live with the consequences." She went upstairs to pack, still crying. I sat in the living room, numb, hearing drawers opening and closing, knowing my marriage was officially over. Sarah left that night with a suitcase. I watched her drive away, then locked the door and sat in the silence of my house. My daughter asleep upstairs, my wife gone, my life completely changed. The next morning was Saturday. Soccer game. I didn't plan to take Lily, didn't plan to face Coach Ryan at the field, but Lily woke up excited. "Daddy, we have a game today. We're playing the Blue Lightning. How do you tell your 6-year-old that she's not going to soccer because mommy was having an affair with her coach?" "Sweetie, about soccer? Please, Daddy. I don't want to miss it. We've been working on our plays." I couldn't do it. Couldn't disappoint her. Couldn't let Sarah's choices steal Lily's joy. "Okay, let's go." We arrived at the field at 8:45 a.m. Coach Ryan was setting up equipment, not yet knowing his world was about to implode. I walked directly to him. "Ryan, we need to talk, now." He looked confused. "Mike, what's—" "Away from the kids, now." We walked to the edge of the parking lot. I pulled out my phone, showed him the photos of him and Sarah. "I know about the affair. I have documentation going back weeks. And I've already reported you to the soccer league for violating ethics policies. You need to resign. Today." His face went ash gray. "Mike, I'm so sorry. I never meant—" "I don't care what you meant. You pursued a married woman. You had a relationship with a team parent. You violated league policies and basic human decency. You're done coaching this team. Can we talk about this, please?" "There's nothing to talk about. Resign today or I'll make sure every family on this team and in this league knows exactly why you're being fired. Your choice." "What about Sarah?" "Sarah is no longer your concern. She's my soon-to-be ex-wife. You can have her for all I care, but you're done coaching my daughter and done being part of our lives." I walked away, leaving him standing there in shock. Went back to the field, stood with the other parents, watched Lily play her game. Coach Ryan resigned before the game ended, told the team coordinator it was personal reasons, and he had to step away immediately. Coach Maria took over, confused but professional. The other parents buzzed with speculation. Why would Coach Ryan quit so suddenly? Did something happen? This is so weird. I said nothing. Let them wonder. The truth would come out soon enough through the league investigation and parent gossip. That afternoon, I sat down with Lily and explained, in age-appropriate terms, that Mommy and Daddy were going to live in different houses, but we both loved her very much. She cried, asked why, asked if it was her fault. I held her and promised her it had nothing to do with her, that sometimes adults make mistakes and families change, but love doesn't. It was the hardest conversation I'd ever had. Over the next 3 months, the divorce proceeded. Sarah fought for custody, but my documentation of her affair and lying made her case weak. Jennifer negotiated aggressively on my behalf. The final settlement, I got primary custody, 60-40 split, with Lily staying with me during the week and Sarah getting alternate weekends. I kept the house with a buyout payment to Sarah for her equity share. No alimony since we'd been married less than 10 years and both had good incomes. Sarah moved into a small apartment 20 minutes away. The soccer community gossip spread quickly. Parents figured out why Coach Ryan had suddenly resigned, why Sarah wasn't at games anymore, why I was always the parent bringing Lily. Some people reached out with support, others gossiped. Most just avoided the awkward situation. Ryan moved out of state within 2 months, couldn't handle the reputation damage. From what I heard, the league had blacklisted him from coaching after investigating the ethics violation. Sarah and Ryan's relationship didn't survive the transition from secret affair to actual relationship. Without the excitement of sneaking around, without the forbidden nature of it, apparently they realized they didn't actually have much in common. They broke up 3 months after the affair was exposed. 6 months after confronting Sarah, my life had stabilized into a new normal. Lily adjusted to the custody schedule. I refined my work-from-home routine to accommodate single parenting. My house felt emptier but more peaceful. I started therapy to process the betrayal and trust issue. Dr. Stevens helped me understand that Sarah's affair wasn't about me, wasn't about anything I'd done wrong or failed to do right. It was about her choices, her willingness to deceive, her prioritizing temporary excitement over family stability. People who cheat make a series of choices, Dr. Stevens explained. The first inappropriate conversation, the first secret meeting, the first lie. At any point, Sarah could have chosen differently. She chose not to. That helped, knowing it wasn't my failure, knowing I'd been a good husband and father, knowing that Sarah's betrayal revealed her character, not mine. 8 months after the divorce, a woman named Rachel started working at my company. She was a project manager, recently relocated from another state, friendly and competent. We started talking at coffee breaks, discovered we had similar interests, began having lunch together occasionally. Rachel knew I was divorced with a daughter. I told her the basic story. My ex had an affair with our daughter's soccer coach, and she was appropriately sympathetic without being overly curious. That must have been devastating, she said. It was, but I'm through the worst of it now. Are you open to dating? I considered that. Was I? Could I trust someone again? Risk being vulnerable? Maybe, I said honestly. Still working through some trust issues. That's understandable, but when you're ready, I'd love to get dinner sometime. As friends or as more, whatever you're comfortable with. I appreciated her directness. Let me think about it. Take all the time you need. 3 weeks later, I asked Rachel to dinner. Real dinner, not just lunch at work. A date. It went well. We talked for 3 hours. She was easy to talk to, genuine, interested in my life and my daughter. At the end of the night, she kissed me goodnight. Just a brief, sweet kiss. And I felt something I hadn't felt since before discovering Sarah's affair. Hope. 1 year after the divorce, I'm 35, Lily is 7 and thriving. She's adjusted to our routine, has friends at school, still plays soccer, different league, different coach. She sees Sarah every other weekend, and while their relationship isn't as close as it once was, it's functional. I've been dating Rachel for 4 months. She's met Lily a few times. Casual, no pressure, just dad's friend Rachel. Lily likes her. I like her. It's early, but it's healthy and honest, and that matters more than passion or excitement. Sarah, from what I hear through mutual acquaintances, is struggling. She works full-time, lives modestly, regrets the affair that cost her her family. She's tried apologizing multiple times, long emails explaining she was confused and unhappy and made terrible choices. I read them, but don't respond. There's nothing to say. What's done is done. 2 years after discovering the affair, I can finally think about that night in the parking lot, watching Sarah and Ryan through binoculars, seeing them touch and laugh and betray me without feeling physically ill. The pain has faded to a dull ache, present but manageable. I've learned things about myself through this experience. I learned I'm stronger than I thought. I learned I can be strategic and calm even when I want to rage. I learned I can rebuild a life after devastation. I learned I'm a good father who can provide stability for my daughter even when my own world is chaos. And I learned that sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who betray you, but that doesn't mean you can't trust again. It just means you choose more carefully. You watch for red flags. You value honesty above everything. Lily asked me recently, "Daddy, are you happy?" I thought about that. About my life now versus my life 2 years ago, back when I thought I had a happy marriage but was actually married to someone living a double life. Yeah, sweetheart, I am happy. And I realized it was true. Not happy because everything was perfect, but happy because my life was honest. Because I wasn't being lied to every day. Because I'd rather be a single father building a genuine life than a married man living in someone else's deception. Sarah had thought she could manage 2 lives, devoted wife and mother at home, romantic affair at soccer practice. She thought she could have the security I provided while finding excitement with Ryan. She thought she could lie indefinitely and I'd never notice. She was wrong about all of it, and that miscalculation cost her the family she'd taken for granted. Sometimes late at night, I wonder if Sarah ever thinks about the moment I confronted her with those photos. If she regrets her choices, if she wishes she'd talked to me about being unhappy instead of seeking escape through an affair. Probably, but it doesn't matter anymore. Her regret doesn't undo the betrayal. Her apologies don't rebuild trust. Her explanations don't change what happened. What matters is that I protected my daughter, preserved my dignity, and built a new life based on honesty. Everything else is just noise.